Living on standby, waiting for rivers to crest and floodwaters to stretch into further neighborhoods. Tonight, we're here to keep you on top of the latest as Governor Nikki Haley warns the next wave is set to come. Keep it here right after tonight's lottery. We'll get you and your family up to speed.
Live, local, late breaking. This is WNBF News at 7.
We have been through the first big wave. We are about to go through the second big wave.
Governor Haley pushes out 3 areas of major concern when it comes to the next big wave. Georgetown County is on the list. Tonight, we're also following how weather experts track what's next for us.
If we can't measure it, we can't manage it.
We'll have the latest from right here at home and all across the state. But first, meteorologist Robert Whitehurst joins us now with the latest conditions on the current weather.
Yeah, looking pretty good. We're kind of hanging up in just a few more minutes.
Governor Haley warns flooding is going to get worse, especially those for our neighbors living in the South Strand and in the Midlands. This is video of Highway 17 in Georgetown on Sunday showing the flooding. Governor Haley says there are 3 major areas of concern over the next several days when it comes to flooding, including areas of Georgetown County.
Or they got hit the first time and they survived it and they think it's okay. This is a second hit that could be worse. And so, and the worst part of it for us is that water's going to stay. There's no place for it to go.
During the press conference, Governor Haley also says Jamestown and Givens Ferry are the other 2 areas in concern with additional flooding. The reason is for high river levels at the Black River, Mingo Creek, and the PD River. Haley also says there are now 17 related deaths when it comes to the flooding. She urges people affected by the flooding to register with FEMA now. Currently, there are 23 shelters open across the state. Haley expects more to open when it comes to flooding getting worse. The director of Georgetown County Emergency Management Team doesn't want people to overreact or panic after hearing Governor Haley's message. Connor McHugh joins us now with why. Connor, what is the director telling you?
Well, even though
Thank you, Connor. That push to register for FEMA assistance is being told to those living in Florence County. This is video from Johnsonville. Residents there and the floodwaters they've been dealing with around their homes. National Guard troops have been out since yesterday, watching over the area and making sure only residents who live there are coming in and out. Florence County Emergency Management is hoping to open a recovery center in a couple days to give residents easy access to sign up with other state and federal agencies that are out there to help. Flooding continues in Conway along the Waccamaw River. The National Weather Service is hoping to use information from this natural disaster to prepare for the future. National Weather Service meteorologists and others are analyzing the latitude and longitude of the river's newest outer edges, and they'll use a gauge to measure the river's depth. The gauge is prepared to go up 25 feet, long enough to clear the 16-foot crest. Experts tell us it will be a while before the water really starts to go down. The major flood classification is expected to last throughout the weekend into next week. The American Red Cross shelter located at the Conway Recreation Center has been moved to the First United Methodist Church located at 1001 Fifth Avenue in Conway. At last check, there are currently 3 American Red Cross shelters open in Horry County. A local veteran who has made it his mission to help others is now having to ask for help himself. Scott McMorrow volunteers his time to help other veterans find jobs through the Welcome Home Center. McMorrow and his wife moved into their house in Little River less than a year ago. The storm swept in and damaged the house, as you can see here. You can actually see the ground under the walkway split his grass, so he now has a creek next to his house and caused him to have to throw away all of his belongings. The house will be gutted out tomorrow. When the storm came in, him and his wife had to be rescued out the window.
they had to rescue us from the window, because if we opened the door, it would have been like Noah's Ark. I mean, it was bad.
The family is trying to pick up the pieces, but they don't have any flood insurance. There is a GoFundMe account posted to our website. This video on social media has gotten thousands of likes and shares showing a rescue of 2 horses. We found out that these men who saved these horses are Shane Pope, his friends, and his father, Johnny Pope, of the Pope Ranch in Conway. They tell us they got a call about some horses stranded on the island at the Lost Sheep Plantation and in Andrews. The men wanted to help get the animals into dry land before it was too late, so they went into action. The horses are now at the Pope Ranch, and they've been checked out by a vet, and they're said to be doing just fine. Local animal shelters have also taken a hit when it comes to the damage from all the rainfall and flooding. All for Paws and Polly's Island kept their animals safe, but water did erode their cages, so now zip ties are being used to hold those in place. Fencing is ruined in some places, and the main storage area for food and supplies was flooded too. The Coastal Animal Rescue in Murrells Inlet also is dealing with structural damage to their shelter.
And this is something that's kind of in dire need to be repaired just in case there is another rainstorm or anything like that. If we have any structural damage secondary to the leak, that would be bad for the cats. Like if the roof were to collapse on them, that would be bad for the cats.
Their cost of damage is about $2,000 for the Coastal Animal Rescue. Find this story online at WNBFnews.com with details on how to help. In the Low Country, the Charleston Animal Society is sending 40 dogs to be adopted out to other shelters, according to their Facebook page, due to the recent weeks and heavy rains. Charleston Animal Society has been flooded with animals needing to be rescued. Today, the Humane Society of the United States is stepping in to help by transporting 40 adult dogs from Charleston Animal Society to other shelters that can take these animals in for adoption. The shelter CEO says right now they've got more than 600 animals they're trying to get adopted. Coming up on WNBF News at 7, those who decide the future of our county roads are starting to decide which big road projects are going to be started next. And the historic flooding may push some of those projects up to the top of the list. That story next.
Tonight.
A total of $950,000 is what it's going to cost to get the roads fixed here in Horry County after flood damage. County Emergency Management Director Randy Webster says that the county is getting help from FEMA. That means they won't have to borrow money to repair roads and bridges. Webster says they will be in full action to work on the Waccamaw River flood. When it comes to beach erosion, an estimated 5 to 6 feet of damage has been done. We'll have more details tonight at 11. A violent argument is caught on tape from early this morning where shots were fired, hitting one person in the leg. The argument unfolded at Farlow's Burrito Bar. Police say 2 people were in a verbal argument at the restaurant on Main Street in downtown Myrtle Beach. At some point, the argument escalated and shots were fired and everyone ran. A man showed up to the hospital later with a gunshot wound believed to be in the calf. His condition is not known at this time, police said. Police are investigating. The Ride 3 committee met today to get the ball rolling on which projects you can expect to get started across the county. Though they are in the very beginning stages, going over funding, organizing when the committee will meet and how often, one thing is for certain: the recent flooding was on everyone's mind. Brent Scholes explains it will be discussed as they decide which projects are going to be a priority over others, especially with SEL, the Southern Evacuation Lifeline, and the Palmetto Point Boulevard expansion projects already on the list. But Scholes says it's important to remember this amount of rainfall is not something to assume will happen again.
It will be discussed, and everybody's got to understand that was a 1,000-year event that we experienced. You don't hardly ever see those in your lifetime, and you have to take that into account, but hopefully we won't have another one of those for a long time.
Scholes wants to remind the public that they're welcome to these meetings, and if anyone does want to voice their concerns or opinion with any of the projects after the flooding, they are welcome to do so. Finding new hope after leaving your home behind. It's a reality many are having to deal with, and tonight we get a look at the way people are coming to the rescue. Thank you, Robert. The state of North Carolina is sending more than 500 soldiers and airmen to help the state with flooding. The North Carolina Emergency Management personnel and resources along the North Carolina Guard will support in flooding response and recovery in the areas of logistics and public information and staff support. They'll be providing hundreds of road barriers, civil air patrol, aerial assessments, and provide critical necessities like water. The extra help from North Carolina will be here starting on Saturday. Neighbors in one Columbia community are stranded tonight after the main road getting to their homes is deteriorating after floodwaters rushed through. And now all that's left is a lot of damage. Natalia Martinez takes us there tonight.
Neighbors have been driving over that part of the road there at their own risk. The are at least doing okay. Reporting from Columbia, Natalia Martinez, Raycom News Network.
Well, we've seen the images of the damage that the flood has done to our community, but we also are reminded daily of how strong our neighbors can be. So join us in lending a helping hand to yours who aren't having it easy right now. Please donate to help the flood victims. Go to the redcross.org/SC and click on the link, or for other ways to get help, to WNBFnews.com and click on the SC Flood 2015 under the local tab. Support for many people affected by these floods are being felt all throughout South Carolina. Tonight, Raycom News Network reporter Allie Spilliards has a closer look at those helping each other out at St. Andrews Middle School in Columbia. A local celebrity living among us. The story of Ronnie Bass, once a former Titan. Tonight, you'll hear his story shaped on the gridiron that played out on the silver screen.
WNBF News Fan on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
It's a special report you won't want to miss, especially if you're a fan of the movie Remember the Titans, starring Denzel Washington, that was released back in 2000. This evening at 11 o'clock, you'll get to meet the real Sunshine, also known as Ronnie Bass. You'll hear his thoughts on the movie, his nickname, and his son, who is currently playing for the North Myrtle Beach football team. Tune back in at 11 o'clock for that special report.
And the weather for tonight, pretty warm afternoon. Then as we go through the weekend, expecting rain on Saturday. Good news is not heavy rain, so not expecting flooding, and then drying out next week.
Sounds good. Thank you, Robert. I'm sure many of you want to hear that news. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you back here at 11 o'clock for all your live, local, late-breaking headlines.